Hey, this is Carla from the Butcher Babies.
This is George Corner Fisher from Cannibal Corpse.
Hey, this is Rex from Kill Devil Hill. It's Wednesday 13. It's Dad from Devil Driving.
This is Odorous from War. You're listening to Rabid Noise
on Rabid Radio.
Turn it up.
Carina, how's it going?
It's going great, thank you. I'm in North Carolina and it's raining, which is actually great because I live in Los Angeles and it barely rains ever.
There's been a bit of a drought over that way, hasn't there?
Yes, very heavy drought.
So the rain is needed.
Not here.
Not there? No? I don't travel much. Well, Puscifer have just released the new album Money Shot, and I have to say the one thing about it that really jumped out was how well the vocals have been arranged. It sounds like you guys spent a lot of time on them.
Well, I mean, it does actually, when I listen back, it does sound very intricate and very like we spent a lot of time on them. But really, the good thing is that I really enjoyed about the vocal arrangements on this record was it wasn't that precious. It wasn't extremely intensive in terms of going over and over. It was more kind of spur of the moment, you know, whatever would just come out of my mouth in that moment, and whether I liked it or not was a very quick decision. And a lot of things I did and I would just scrap right away, or there's something that I would maybe work on for a minute, or there's an idea I had in my head, for instance, the part of Grand Canyon, the second verse, that weird kind of Bulgarian backing vocal, and you know, I'd have that idea and I would say to Matt, you're going to have to give me a few tracks and bear with me because at first it's going to sound awful. And when I find the notes, it might be cool. It most likely be cool. And, you know, I had a lot of freedom to do that kind of thing. And for instance, the end of Simultaneous, Maynard just looked at me and said, go in there and do something in the second half of that part that kind of changes it up a little bit. And then I went in and did the counterpoint harmony, like it's almost subconsciously. It's the first thing that came out of my mouth. So, you know, there are a lot of different ways of getting the parts that I got. And then, you know, for instance, Galileo, a lot of that was Maynard had put his harmony ideas down, and he's very, you know, his choices of harmonies are really beautiful and close and outside of what I would normally go to. So I will go in and sing the harmonies that he has come up with, and then work off of that and build off of that. So it was very collaborative, which was a really nice experience for me.
That's awesome, because it's so beautifully arranged. Like, I was listening to it in the car the other day, and I just had goosebumps. It was, you know, it's very rare that, you know, albums would come along and have that effect these days. You know, I'll crank it in the car and it'll just be in the background sort of thing, but it really made me stand up and take notice. It's so beautifully arranged. You guys have done such an amazing job. Yeah, I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, I get a kick out of singing them live too. You know, singing Galileo is really quite tight harmonies and intense thing to pull off live, and it's quite satisfying.
I love that song too. Well, while there seems to be a lot of dark elements in the music, the overall theme of the band it's pretty tongue in cheek. It must be like pretty funny working with those guys in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, in the studio, particularly with Matt, you know, he's kind of very, very focused. It's hard to tear his attention away from what's happening. He also works a lot on his own in the studio too. But honestly, it's difficult to be around either of them without some stupidity happening. So yeah, it's you know, the overall feel of Puscifer is generally a good compass as to the direction of Maynard's personality. It's pretty authentic to, I feel, to you know, the feeling of him as a person.
You know, musically, the band it's also pretty diverse, and it can go from dark and ambient to, you know, like the light-hearted sort of country stuff. What do you find you enjoy playing the most live?
Well, I really, you know, if you've heard my own music, you will know that I can really get into some the darker side of things, and I really get a lot of nourishment and satisfaction out of going there, which happens when we do it with Puscifer too. But also, I have a very lighthearted, stupid side to my personality, which also gets satisfied in this band, and it's it's something that I wouldn't necessarily go to with my own music, because I don't know, maybe I just don't have the balls or something, and Maynard does. But there's also a level of I don't have to be responsible for the for the comeback if we go on stage and do a country show and 3,000 people are up in arms. But generally, I think the fan base has come to expect the unexpected, and that's the beauty of this outfit. It's really temperamental, let's say.
Yeah, that's the thing I love about it too. It can have me laughing 1 minute and then just have my complete attention the next. It's awesome.
like a Mike Lee movie.
Yeah. It's good example.
Yeah, no, I think all the best, really the greatest creative endeavors can have you feeling those two things at once. And I think this music or this band, or certainly the live experience of this band, can have you in that position.
Totally agree. Well, we're going to go to the track The Remedy from Money Shot now, and we'll be back very soon on Rabid Noise.
Hey guys, just want to take a minute to give a shout out to our podcast supporters, RW Promotion, who are the best in the business when it comes to printing posters, flyers, banners, badges, business cards, you name it. They've got what it takes to help you get everything you need to help spread the word about your band or business. And with a blistering turnaround, they'll make sure you get your product ASAP. So get in touch with Richard and the team at www.rwpromotion.com.au or shoot them an email at info@rwpromotion.com.au. Also want to give a shout out to the guys at Blacklight Art and Design, who in my opinion are the Gold Coast best screen printers. So, we've gotten many band shirts and even our own Rabid Noise shirts done through these guys, and they've also got one of the fastest turnarounds I've ever seen. So all quality prints at competitive prices. So whether it's band merchandise, sporting teams, promotional garments or workwear, they've got you covered. So hit them up at www.blacklightad.com.au or email them at info@blacklightad.com.au. So big thanks to those guys for helping us to bring you this podcast each and every week, and for, of course, supporting the metal scene. So now it's back to Rabid Noise.
And we're back with the amazingly talented Carina Round from Puscifer. Now, I really love your album Tiger Mending too. You worked with a few legends like Brian Eno and Dave Stewart, and my favourite songwriter of all time, Billy Corgan. How was that experience?
Well, Billy Corgan, he came see me live, and I guess really enjoyed it. And I guess he must have. And then he asked me to sing on a couple of demos he was doing for his next record, and I did. I don't think that any of that got used, but it was, just a fun, creative experience being in the studio while he was writing, while he was making stuff for the Pumpkins record. And then he heard my song Gotta Go and was just completely bummed out that it wasn't heavier. And he basically demanded that he come into the studio and put guitars on it. Who's going to say no to that? So that's how that happened. Dave Stewart, I've known him for 10 years at least. We met in England. He signed me to his first record label, his first endeavor. I made The Disconnection, which was my second record. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, the venture fell through, but he took that record to Jimmy Iovine, and after I had already toured it in the UK, and then it got signed in the US, and I toured it in the US, and, he was a big part of putting me together with Glenn Ballard to do my record Slow Motion Addict in LA. So I've known him for a very long time, and when I finally wasn't on Interscope anymore, I made my own EP, Things You Should Know, and then I moved on to make my own record, Tiger Mending. And one of the tracks on Tiger Mending was called The Secret of Drowning. It was born from just a very simple synth line that he had given me, Dave Stewart had given me 5 years before, that him and Brian Eno had made 10 years prior to that. So he had given me this track and said, write something to it. And 5 years later, I sent him the finished track, and he sent it to Brian Eno, and Eno loved it. But strangely, I never actually met Eno, and we didn't work in the studio together. So the collaboration was between Dave Stewart and Brian Eno, and then, I made the track on top of the synth line that they gave me. But it was, it turned into a very, very dramatic song. Initially, what they gave me was just a synth and a little drum beat, and it was beautiful. The melody is just so beautiful. And yeah, it blossomed into The Secret of Drowning.
It's amazing how sometimes that can happen. All just that little spark, That's an amazing story. Yeah, it's really, as it was happening, I wasn't even that conscious of how cool it was. But I love it. I love it. I love how that came about. Of course, you're probably going to be hitting the road soon with Puscifer. Is that right?
Yeah, we're already out. We did 4 shows, and that's why I'm in North Carolina. We're playing Charlotte tomorrow. We just played, where were we? I don't know. Atlanta? It's only 4 shows in, and I already have no idea where I am.
It must be pretty cool.
It gets that way. I'm in a hotel somewhere.
Just go and get lost. That sounds like a pretty a good idea to me, man.
Yeah. I just went to a museum. It was fun. That's all. It's just little details like that stick out after a while.
And all the days just sort of roll into one, don't they?
Yeah, but this was a kind of, I didn't know how it was going to be received. The album only came out a couple of days before the first show, so luckily it had been streaming on Pandora, so people have got a chance to listen to it. But the response and the audience response has been just great. And like I said, Puscifer fans and the audience has come to expect the unexpected. So, the live show is somewhat of a spectacle, and people are receiving it really well. So it's going well. Rightly
so. It kicks ass. I really like that album.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. I like it too.
Yeah, it's so good. Well, here's the $1 million question. When are we going to see you guys down here in Australia again?
Well, we played Australia. We played Soundwave Festival. I think it was a couple of years ago now. And it was great, and the response was really great. And I guess, we were lucky enough to come off the back of the Perfect Circle stuff, and it went well. So there's no reason why we wouldn't come back. I think, as you know, it's an independently financed band, and it just has to be financially viable for us to make trips like that. It's very expensive to travel across the world to a different continent to do that kind of thing. But, I would say that's certainly on a wish on the agenda for this record, for hopefully for this year.
I really hope so too.
Next year. Did I say that?
There's only 1 month
left.
Don't
hold me to that. Don't hold me to that, because I'm not the one in charge.
That's all right. I will. I'll say, you said that you're coming. That's awesome.
I loved it there, so I'd love to come back and visit.
Well, if you do, I'd like to see you do some solo stuff too.
Oh, thank you. I'd love to do that.
That'd be really cool. That'd be amazing. Well, we're going to go to track Man Overboard now, and we'll follow it up with your track, The Last Time. Thanks so much for hanging tonight, Carina, and I hope we can see you guys soon.
Thanks for having me.